Hello and welcome to Narkitect. In this new series I'll be showing you how I built some of the locations in our upcoming Minecraft series, Half-Baked Heroes. So here's the world that me and Tom have. This is untouched before we started the series. I found this a nice location, a nice flat location by the sea that I wanted to build a city in. And in this episode, as you may have guessed from the title, we'll be building a palace. And I wanted to build a palace built out in the ocean, just set off from the coast, because I'd recently seen Disney's Frozen, and in that film, if you've seen it, the palace is set out in the sea. So here I am building us a platform to put our palace on. I'm just using the brush tool in World Edit there to put some dirt around, and then I use the replace air dirt command in the middle to fill it in, and you can see I put some grass on because we don't want it to be plain old and brown. We want it to have a bit of life to it, and then I just smoothed up the edges with a smooth tool to make it look a bit more natural. And then I came round to design the shape of the walls of our palace. So what I did was I just made a big rectangle with a little bit jutting out so it looks kind of like a boot. And the toes of the boot is where we will build the gatehouse. And I raised the walls 4 high because all my buildings, the floors are usually 4 high, although this is a bit grand, so maybe we should go a bit higher on the next level. On the corners, just to add a bit of texture because we don't want it to be completely plain, I added these little turrets, and the way I did that was, if you Google Minecraft circle, you will find how to make a perfect circle in Minecraft of any shape or size, and I just put these small ones on the corners just to make it stand out and not be a completely flat, boring building. And I felt that the back wall particularly was very large and flat and needed something in the middle because it was just too flat. So there you can see me finding the center of the wall and constructing this oval shape, which I didn't cut off Minecraft circles, I just kind of made it up as I went, but it is symmetrical, so it works out okay. And then I wanted to cap off the roof, and I used green wool for this build, and I know there are all kinds of carpenter's blocks and stairs and things that are a bit more smooth, but I thought for this build, because it will be so big, it won't be noticeable if I use a single block for the roof, just because it's so large. And I wanted to have a different colour roof from the usual red bricks because this is quite grand. I thought we could use something else, so I used green. And here the walls are raised just to help with building the roofs on the turrets that we made. And you can see how I made them was using the green wool. I started with an overhang of 1, and then for every layer I went up by 1, I also went in by 1 until we reached the point at the top. And around the back, here we are increasing the level of this oval we've built at the back just to make it a real feature of the building. Even though it's at the back, I don't want anything to be plain, so that's why we tried to make this into a feature. And here we are applying exactly the same technique to the roof as we did with the turrets. 1 overhang and then up 1 level, in 1 level, until we reach our point at the top. The next thing to build was the gatehouse, and I made that a bit taller because I wanted the entrance to be a bit more grand, and you can see me there fiddling around with different designs for the door. And again, I think these are exactly the same as the turrets on the side in terms of their dimensions that I built, just because as you go through, you do want to go through some kind of grand entrance, not just a little plain flat door. So I built these up to be even taller, and here I am adding in a little bit of detail on the door using fence blocks as a portcullis. And now we want to have somewhere for our guards to patrol and, you know, do all the customs checks, whatever's involved in people coming in and out. So we build up these towers a bit taller and then build a walkway using fence blocks and the green wall for a guard to patrol, and also another place for guards to patrol or to stand on the roof of these towers. And I built them exactly the same way as the roofs on the other towers, except when I came to look at it, actually I think I wanted them one higher, so I just quickly got rid of what I'd built. I built the fence blocks up one higher and then rebuilt it. In your builds, don't be afraid to delete what you've done and start again. It's better to get it right. So here we are, this is what we have so far. We've done the first level and the towers on the outsides, and it's beginning to come together. It's starting to look quite grand. It just needs to be capped off with a roof and detail on the walls. But all in all, so far so good. And here we are coming back round to the front. So the next thing that we'll want to do is think about how we're going to put a roof on this building. And I think we want a very tall, majestic looking roof, because still it's not a very high building and we do want it to be a real focal point of our city. So here I am, just leveling everything off, just making everything square and separating out this middle area, which we will come back to later. On the side of the building, we have to think about how we want it to look really grand and really tall, and no matter where anybody is in the city, they should be able to see our palace. So thinking about that, when I built the roof on the side, instead of going up by 1 in by 1, I went up by 2 in by 1, just so that the roof really stretches up to the sky, and it's really something grand and something to be proud of, and something that really makes an impact when people come to visit the city, either coming in from the harbour with the ships or coming in from the land, seeing it in the background of our city. And then I filled it in the front and started to think about windows, what kind of design I wanted for the windows. So I had one half with one design and another half with another design. There I've left a bit of a gap between the windows on the other of 2, and on the other side I only left a gap of 1, just to see what I thought was best. And it's always best to play around and see what you like the best, and as you can see in the end I went with a gap of 1. And then I came along and put on the roof just a 1 overhang all the way along and followed that back and forth until the roof was complete. I think coming back and forwards with the roofs was the most arduous part of this build. It seemed to be very time consuming and also made quite a plain flat surface, which is something that we want to avoid. And if I was to build the structure again, I think I would change the way that I did the roofs. Perhaps learn the command for World Edit to make it a bit quicker, and also just think about how I can texture the roofs to make them a little bit more interesting. And now we have to come across to the front and have a think about this big plain area that we've left and what kind of design window we want in there. And again, just play around as you're happy. So I started with a cross, then I started with a circle, and then I started a circle with a cross. And at the end, something that I was happy with. And I think that side ultimately ended up looking really great. So what I've done now is I've done the same on both the sides and left the middle as I said I would. So as you come around, we can see that the roofs are really tall, really grand, really nicely designed, got some detail. And we come across to the back, we can see that the back isn't completely flat. We got our nice oval with our nice roof and our 2 turrets on either side. And then on the other side of the building, exactly the same there, coming round to the guardhouse. So it's really coming along nicely. It's got some nice interesting parts to it. We've managed to break up the build so it's not just all flat or all... And now we have to turn our attention to the front. So when I was building this, I was thinking of other palaces for inspiration, and one of the palaces that came to mind was Buckingham Palace in London. And one of the features of Buckingham Palace they have is the balcony, and from the balcony the royal family can look out over their city, and I wanted to create something like that for us here in our city, in our palace. So the area that I left I've now turned into a balcony, and because again we don't want any flat plain surfaces, I thought we'd add some drapes, some hangings, some flags, something a bit grand, and something that can be the emblem of our city hanging over the front of the balcony. And I started off with the red that you can see there, and then went 4 blocks high for the roof, and then started to slope the roof back. This time going 1 up, 1 in, 1 up, 1 in, instead of 2 up, 1 in, which we have on the other sides, to add a bit more texture. And ultimately we still come out a little bit higher than the rest of the roofs, which adds even more texture because we have different slopes and different levels. This roof is the last exposed area we have, and once we've finished that, it'll be completely enclosed and all the walls and all the roofs will be finished, and we'll have something really great to look at. And it'll really have come together and start to look as it finally will. We're nearly there, we're nearly built our palace. And looking at the red, I did find it a bit garish. They say red and green never seen, and it looked a bit Christmassy, and I didn't really want a Christmas kingdom. I wanted something royal and something rich, so I came back and added this deep blue for the flags. Around the back here, I just increased the height of the wall to the same as the balcony where the roof begins, and just leveled off the roof on the back, just to get rid of this exposed area. And again, what you can see I've done straight away by doing that is build a massive expansive wall that is completely flat. So whilst we're building the roof here, we'll have to start to think about how we can break up that flat area of wall, maybe some windows. And here we are. Now we just have to think about what kind of windows we want. So I started with a central one and 2 small ones either side. And again, quite plain, just holes. So let's think of how we can add some depth and add some detail and add some texture. So that's upside down stone slabs for the window sills, and then coming back with some green wool to add some little roofs above our windows. And now they stand out a little bit more than they would have ordinarily. And we have to start thinking about how we can do this around all of the build. So just adding 1 little window in the tower, and then coming back and adding these tall windows like the ones we added on the side across the front of the build. And I played around with ideas that we could have for bringing some texture to the windows on the front, using wool, using stairs, using slabs, and just playing around and seeing what's best. When you build yourself, just keep playing around, keep seeing what combinations you like best. And I can't remember what I settled with in the end, but definitely I think I kept the stone slabs as the windowsills as I did around the back. And coming around to the back of the building, we have to build some windows in the large bay oval area that we made. So I started off by making 3 windows across the back, but then I realised that the roof runs across there, so that window would kind of cause some conflict on the inside of the building. Where's the floor at? And also I wanted to have very tall windows instead of 3 very small strips. So I filled that in, and in the end I think on that area I continued the roof and built in these 2 large windows that you can see, and again using the upside down stone slabs to add some texture on them. And then filling in the rest of the blank area there, putting some more vertical strip windows and doing them exactly the same as the ones on the front, filling them in with glass, and then using the stone slabs to highlight them. And the last thing that I did to our palace was I just felt the roof was very green and very plain, even though it also is on different levels and different slopes. I don't really think you get that from the front. So I came across and I built this bell tower, and here is another Minecraft circle that you can find googling Minecraft circle. It may even be the same one that we use for the towers on the side. And I built that up and down into the roof and left this big window so you can see the big gold bell that would ring out across the town. Maybe if there's an emergency or an announcement to make, or the royals want to address people from the balcony. And the roof, I went 2 up, 1 in to make it even taller and so it could be seen from even further away. And that was the last thing we've built, and our palace is actually now complete. And here we are, the completed palace. Well done everyone, thanks for joining me. Doesn't it look fantastic as we go around? A real focal point, a really great start to the kingdom that we will ultimately grow and build together. Here we are the side, those massive windows, that very tall stretching roof. Around the back, our bay window, our centerpiece for the back. Coming around to the side that we've seen. Doesn't the bell tower look great stretching out from the top? Around to the guardhouse, and ultimately coming back around to that balcony where the royals will stand and look over the rest of the city that we shall make. This has been Narkitect. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.